Hello everyone. This is the content video for Unit 2, Information Literacy. I wanted to give you some background information about the topic. We're looking at what the term information literacy means, and you're doing some searching to help define that. I wanted to share with you what is thought to be the standard definition for information literacy put out by the American Library Association. Recognizing when information is needed, having the ability to locate, evaluate, and use effectively the needed information. And notice the two parts, knowing when you need the information and then what to do to get and use the information. American Library Association also helps to clarify that definition by listing things that an information literate person should be able to do. So as I read these, think about yourself and your own online searching and print searching for information, but also think about your students. And they may not be at the point where they're able to do these things, but think about what it's going to take to get all of our students to the point where they're able to be an information literate person. So this person can determine the extent of information needed. How much do you need? This person can figure out how to access information both effectively and efficiently, not taking too long. This person can evaluate the information, select information, and incorporate that into your knowledge base. Use information to accomplish a task, maybe that's a project or some kind of a presentation, and then understand all of the issues that surround information. And that is a tall order to fill. It's a lot for our students to be able to do. So when we think of information literacy itself, it really isn't that complex. It's just the idea that you ask a question and you can figure out where to go to find the answer and what to do with that information when you find it. Now, that does sound simple, and it might have been very simple when the amount of information we had in the world could be contained in, say, a set of encyclopedias that were sold door to door. But today, information has exploded, and it becomes even more crucial and more complex to figure out how to find, evaluate, and use information. Now, we're talking about information literacy maybe as if it's a newer term, but it's actually been with us for a while. Paul Zurkowski, in his role with the National Commission on Libraries and Information Science, spoke about the importance of people using information to solve problems back in 1974. And so he's credited with coining the term information literacy. But still, some 40 years later, information literacy keeps the same focus that it started with, and that is the idea of gaining information to solve a problem or to answer a question. Now, notice in the definitions of information literacy that we've talked about so far, and the one I'm displaying here, the term technology does not come into play. Technology actually is not inherent in the idea of information literacy. Technology comes into play because technology gives us a system for organizing, storing, and accessing information. But print books are also systems for organizing, storing, and accessing information because print books have table of contents, glossary, index, all those tools help us to store and organize information. So in essence, our course is not a technology course. It is a literacy course with some technology thrown in. I don't want to give the impression that we're not going to do things with technology, but the heart of what we're talking about actually is the idea of information literacy itself, no matter what format the text takes. Information literacy really focuses on the idea of wonder about the world around us, and cultivating the habits of mind that lead to curiosity. Because really, essentially, that's where questions come from, through what we wonder and what we're curious about. And those wonderings and curiosities lead to questions that lead to solving problems. And so that's really what's at the heart of information literacy. Our goal as educators, whether we're in a classroom, whether we're grandparents, our aunts and uncles, our parents, our goal is to help students develop that sense of curiosity and wonder, but also to help them become comfortable with feelings like bewilderment and perplexity and fascination. All of those feelings are what lead us to search for answers. As teachers, we can capitalize on the questions that our students bring to the classroom and use those to help guide our teaching. Using students' questions puts students in the driver's seat for their own learning. But that's a new situation for some students because typically the teacher is the one who asks most of the questions. So we have to step back from that and give students the opportunity to bring to the front of their learning those things that they wonder about. Now, we can't just go free rein and let students study whatever they want to know about because, of course, we have standards. We have to focus on those standards. But within the structure of inquiry-based, project-based, or problem-based learning, we can draw on what children wonder about and use that as a motivator to help them understand and want to learn more. I'd like to recommend this book, Make Just One Change, because it focuses on the idea of wondering and brings up this notion of thinking in questions. So the authors emphasize, as teachers in the classroom try to encourage kids to ask more questions, that we take a step back and we encourage students to brainstorm their questions without discussion at first. So we encourage students to ask as many questions as they can, maybe about a topic that's in our curriculum. And during that process, these authors encourage us to step back, not judge, and to record all of those questions and change any statements into questions, and then look at those as starting points for learning. I mentioned in the overview video that we're going to be touching on the work of Michael Eisenberg, well known for his Big Six search process. And we're going to be reading about the work of Carol Kuthua and her information literacy search process. Remember, as I said in the overview video, there are several different models out there for information literacy. We're going to study these two, but they aren't the only ones, and we'll be looking at another one later on in one of our upcoming units. Models of information literacy do link back to standards, and our discussion board for this unit focuses on some of the standards that support information literacy. I want to share where these come from. American Association of School Librarians have put together 4 standards for promoting information literacy. Look at some of the vocabulary. You see the words inquire, critical thinking, drawing conclusions, sharing your knowledge. Again, no mention of technology here, but it's an underlying assumption that technology plays a big role in helping students to be able to do these things found in the standards for the school librarians. The ISTE, or the International Society for Technology and Education, has also published standards. These are the student standards. If you go to the ISTE website, you can also find standards for teachers and what teachers should know. And so for the student standards, you see ISTE has broken these down into 6 different categories. And then if you go to the standards themselves, you'll see more specific details under each of these categories. Notice in the ISTE standards some of their vocabulary: creativity and innovation, collaboration. Look at that term, information fluency. Basically, it means that you can use the skills of information literacy effectively and efficiently. You're able to do those processes without a lot of stopping or getting stuck. You can move through information fluently. And notice the ISTE standards have a separate standard for technology. And in that standard, they address both the hardware and the software, the application part of technology. And then the third set of standards I'm going to refer to, of course, are the Common Core standards. And you can see that although the term information literacy is not used specifically, the Common Core standards do promote the idea of seeking information and being able to use that information to share or teach or solve a problem in some kind of way. So we've reached what I'm calling the perfect storm, and that is information literacy is at the threshold of becoming part of the forefront in learning and teaching because of these forces. There, there is seemingly endless access to information at our fingertips. Mobile technology lets us access this information anytime and anywhere. And the need for people in the work world, in their learning, in their home life, the need for people to solve the problems of today is crucial. And the expectation of the world of work is that employees can come into their positions ready to solve those problems. Simply the fact that we live in an information society and a world where technology brings us closer together than ever before lends to the idea that information literacy is a critical component of teaching and learning today. Certainly, you can think of other factors that might bring information literacy to the forefront. And I'd like to let you know that you've come to the right place because this course is going to be about making information literacy an important part of your teaching in your classroom or in your future classroom. And that concludes the content presentation for this unit.